You would think that shooting in the morning would make this brighter because I have all this natural light added, but somehow I feel like this looks darker. So it was requested that I do kind of like a video reactions, opinions, thoughts, that sort of thing on the sort of reboot, if you will, of Sailor Moon Crystal. Because now with Season 3, which is the S arc, where we get Haruka and Michiru and all of that, they've changed the art style up, they've added new music, so it's kind of like they're redoing Crystal. Now, I'm hesitant to make this kind of video because, I don't know, it feels like the more popular, the more revived Sailor Moon gets, the bigger the fandom becomes, and the more I don't want anything to do with it. Because I see a lot of just nastiness and things I don't really want anything to do with. I see it on Tumblr. That's kind of why I pulled away from my Sailor Moon blog, too. Because it's not the way it used to be, and it's not what I wanted. But I will make this video because it deserves its own sort of thing. Even just based on the first episode, and you did ask for it, so here we go. Also, as always, even though if you've seen Sailor Moon at all ever, you know what happens in this sort of season, but I will be spoiler-free. We're just going to look at this crystal, especially compared to other crystal, and talk about it that way. So immediately, we're going to talk about the opening sequence. I love that they are still doing a lot of sort of throwbacks to Utena. There's a lot in this one. There's one shot in particular that I died over. It's Hotaru and Chibiusa, and they're naked in all these roses, and there's a rose frame around the screen, and it's instantly Utena and Anthe, and it was just I love that they're still doing that sort of shout out to Ikuhara. I'm not a huge fan of the song in the opening. I don't love it as much as I love Moon Pride. I can see it growing on me, but I don't love it instantly the way I loved Moon Pride. It's just, I don't know, it sounds a little too generic anime opening for me and not Sailor Moon-y enough, but that's fine. That's not a big deal. It's fine. If we look at the art specifically on the girls, the one thing that I maybe don't love is that this new art style got rid of basically all the intricate shading and highlight that the other crystal had, especially if you look at these sort of shots at the end of their transformations, when they're doing their, in the name of the moon, I will punish you. That bit, they're very flat. They don't have the shadows and the highlights that they used to have. And I miss that because I love that about them. But I can't really complain because this new art style fixed a lot of the kind of proportional problems that the girls had. Their hand joints make sense a lot more of the time. They fixed the proportion of the face and the head. I don't know how to describe it, but before it was Usagi's eyes were so big, but they were also down here and she had all this extra head up top. And it just didn't really make sense. And it feels like everything has been fixed. And so I do appreciate the faces more. I just wish they had kept a little more of the highlight and shadow, but that's just me. I think Makoto definitely benefited the most from the fixes because she looks adorable now. They all look cute, of course, but Makoto, something in her changed. To me, it was 100% 10 out of 10 as soon as we see her. I loved it. Michiru looks stunning, too. Michiru is pretty. Makoto is cute, but Michiru is so pretty. When we first, get that close-up of her face after she comes out of the pool, she's just, I was pretty. The other really important thing that I think this new crystal does that the other crystal didn't is it deviates from the manga a little bit. And that was the thing that I didn't like about original crystal, you know what I mean, was that it was so manga heavy, and what I never liked about the manga was that it moves too fast, right? It's all of a sudden all this stuff is happening and you don't get to know the characters as well as you do in, say, the original anime, which takes forever. There was no happy medium. And this, even just from one episode, the inner senshi, other than Usagi, they get their personalities back. You know what I mean? Minako and Makoto especially, they get their own little bits where they get to talk and they get to say things, and Rei gets a little bit of her sass back, and it's just these couple of second long moments. It doesn't take any extra time in an episode to do this. I wish that other crystal had done this, but it gives us our girls back, and that is something that will actually keep me coming back to this crystal in a way that I didn't come back to season 1 and season 2, is that we finally get our girls back, and maybe this way they'll spend less time dead on the ground and actually, doing stuff. And the final big thing that I wanted to mention in this version of Crystal is actually something that everyone else seems to love and I don't like. Unpopular opinion alert. But everyone seems to love that they took the CGI out of the transformations. I kind of miss it. I liked it to begin with, first of all. This wasn't a new thing. I knew I liked it. But, I don't know. It was something different. I think that's what I liked about it. we hadn't really seen anything like that before, and it was special for the transformations. It wasn't like the whole show was this terrible CGI. It was unique, and the fact that the transformations are still the same in this crystal. They didn't redo them. They just basically flattened the image. I don't love that. I wish I loved that. So overall, if I had to give a what do I think of this crystal compared to other crystal or whatever, what do I think of this crystal in general, I really like it. I like it better than the other crystal. It's even hard for me to say that there are some aesthetic stuff that I like more the other crystal than this one, because really overall the anatomy of the characters being fixed is like the biggest thing, and that is so important. But I do miss the like really intense shading and highlight, and I do miss the CGI a little bit. I won't lie. But like I said, the fixing of their faces is a really big part of the aesthetic change, and that is really important because that's what made Other Crystal really hard to watch sometimes. And I realized that a lot of people really did like the way Other Crystal looked, and that's totally fine. You are 100% entitled to your own opinion and to like what you like, especially around my channel and me. Like, go for it. I'm totally fine to agree to disagree. Go for it. But this crystal, I think it just looks better, and I feel, even though we've only had one episode, I feel like the pacing is going to be better because we are getting those extra little inserts of inner senshi, personality, and dialogue and banter. And I think that is what's really going to help us. Even if they move the storyline as fast, those interjections are going to smooth everything out and make it feel more cohesive. And I feel like that's what was missing from Other Crystal. Other Crystal was a little too much of the Usagi show, you know? And so yeah, that is the fun part where I leave it open to you. What do you think of this new crystal? I know we've only had one episode, but there's already a lot of strong opinions out there on this crystal versus the old one. So I definitely want to hear it. I do want to say, though, that I do ask you to be kind and be respectful and that sort of thing. Other people's opinions, you know, be willing to agree to disagree. Be nice is what I'm trying to say. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. And you subscribe. And also let me know what other videos you want to see in the future. Like I said, this one was a request, and I love to do requests because they're always so fun. So yeah, let me know, and I will see you next time. Bye!